Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you to the City of Somerville Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for Wednesday, April the 19th, 2023. For the record, it is 6:07. I am Susan Fontana, your chair, and I'd like to welcome our board on hand. We have Catherine Garavaglia, Ann Brockelman, Ann Fullerton, Zach Zaremba, and Brian Cook. So all is welcome tonight. Our clerk will be making a motion for our approval of minutes. Madam Clerk, would you please take care of that?
Yes, Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the January 18th and February 1st of 2023 meetings.
May I have a second from the board? Ann Brockelman seconds the motion. All in favor, please say aye. Catherine Garavaglia,
Aye.
Ann Brockelman, Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Zach Zaremba,
Aye.
and myself, Susan Fontano, aye. The minutes have been approved. Thank you. We have one case tonight under the public hearings. It's 1 McGrath Highway, P&Z 23-02032. And I believe it's a new case tonight. So Madam Clerk, would you please open it up for us?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to open 1 McGrath Highway, P&Z 23-032. The applicant is proposing to develop a 6-story general building and establish a hotel use in the high-rise district and is requesting relief from the facade build-out requirements, which requires a hardship variance.
Thank you very much. I believe I was remiss. I don't think I mentioned that Brian Cook, our alternate board members with us tonight, also weighing in. Thank you and welcome, Brian. So our Ms. Lewis, are our applicants ready to go?
I am working on promoting them as we speak.
And I couldn't hear you a couple of times already. Could you check your sound? When you spoke, it didn't come across. Could you just double check that while we're waiting for the applicant?
Which Ann?
I'm sorry, I apologize. Ann with an E. Ann Brockelman.
Want to hear me?
There you are. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Chair, I have hopefully promoted Adam Dash, and there is Adam. All right, fantastic.
One, yeah. Jason DiOrio is another. Christine Thomas is another.
Okay, hadn't promoted Christine. Let me do that now.
The three of us will be presenting. We have a couple other people for answering questions, but they're not going to present. That'd be Michael Malinowski and Lorenzo Dantas. So while that's going on, Adam Dash, 48 Grove Street in Somerville, representing the applicant and owner, Summer Bridge Hotel, LLC. In this matter, as I stated, Jason DiOrio is here. He is the architect from JL Hospitality Design. Hello, Jason.
Good evening, everyone.
Christine
Welcome.
Thomas is a representative of Summer Bridge Hotel, LLC, the applicant and owner, one of the principals there. If we can get Chris up and running. If there are questions which come up, although they're not presenting, Michael Malinowski of Allen & Major, the civil engineer, is here, and Lorenzo Dantas of VHB is here for traffic engineer, although I don't think we're going to need them. We're here tonight. I'm going to do an overview, then Jason's going to walk you through the pictures of what it is, and Chris will say why we're doing it. So we're here tonight seeking a variance for the minimum primary facade build out for the proposed 6-story hotel at 1 McGrath Highway, which is located in the high-rise HR district. The property is partly in Cambridge, and the municipal line runs right through the building. Jason, can you share your screen and put up the slides? There's a button in the upper right to allow you to share screen, or Sarah, can you give Jason the ability to do that?
Yeah, I don't believe I have access right now. If someone could, there it is.
I am, okay. Yeah, Andrew Graminsky.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, Jason's going to drive the slides. You have that, Jason?
I do. I'm just trying to navigate through it.
We can see it.
Can you
well,
see the slide deck?
Well, we didn't for a second. There you go. Don't touch anything.
Okay.
You're good. All right. Can you go to the second slide? That's the hotel. We'll get into it more in just slightly. All right. So this is just to orient you. There's the property on the Cambridge Somerville line. You go to the next one. There. In red, that is our property, that sort of oddly shaped thing with you see the buildings that are on it. The Somerville line runs, I mean, I think Jason can probably just throw his mouse there, yeah, like basically right through the middle of the property and right through the middle of our hotel that's going there. The project is going before the planning board tomorrow night on site plan approval and for special permits for the hotel use and for the parking relief. So we obviously greatly appreciate a vote from the ZBA tonight to keep our moving. However, let's show you what we're doing. The project abuts the recently approved lab building. Can you go to the next slide? At 15 McGrath Highway, go back one. Yeah, the blue. That's that you recently saw that. You did some variances, about 9 variances or something like that for that building. And then that was approved also by the planning board. So that 15 McGrath Highway lab project's going forward. Both of the projects are going to be sharing an exit driveway between the two of them to reduce the number of driveways and for pedestrian safety, but that requires obviously both projects to be approved. The property's currently, can you go to the next slide? The property is currently not being used really for anything. It was last used as a car wash, which you can see there with the blue, and as a storage building. If you go to the next slide, Jason, some of the improvements you see on these photos have since been demolished, but you can see the abandoned nature of the property as it sits today. While we were only told we needed a variance recently in the process, this project's been going on for about 6 years. Some of you may recall approvals of a hotel at this property in 2017 and again in 2019 under the old ordinance. When the zoning changed, the applicant decided it was an opportunity to do a nicer hotel at the site, and we filed a new application to do so in 2021. So we are being heard this week here and at the planning board on that. This also allowed the applicant to be able to help create a connection to the new community path that's going on behind the project. Can we go to the next slide, Jason? Yeah, there's the hotel. But to do a connection to the community path that's going along behind the property, which is being built as part of the Green Line Extension project, as you will see, by providing space for a ramp from McGrath Highway up to the top of the retaining wall behind it in the Cambridge portion of the property where that retaining wall is lower. The applicant's only seeking one variance for which it has a number of hardship reasons, such as the shape of the lot, which I showed you, the sort of the odd shape of it, soil conditions, and topography, in addition to being in 2 municipalities, which is probably the main challenge for tonight. You saw the odd shape of the lot. You go back to slide 4 there, Jason, which sort of dictates where on the slide the building can go. Or sorry, where on the property the building can go. The building size is also dictated by the soil contamination cost there for remediation. However, the building is still at 6 stories below the HR height limit. The building location is also determined by the shared exit driveway that you'll see shortly with us in the 15 McGrath Lab building on the left, and then the ramp to the community path, which will be to the right side of the property. The topography also comes into play, and there's a very large retaining wall in the back. I don't know, Jason, if you want to just sort of show from here where we're talking about in the rear of the property, which we're told is of an historic interest. Originally, our proposal was to take that wall down, but because of the historic interest in the wall, we are keeping it. And of course, that's on our property. So there is a topography issue because that wall is quite large and tall. The minimum facade build out is impacted by having a first floor cutout. Can we go back to slide 6 again, or slide 7? The picture of the hotel. There you go. You can see on the lower left under the words AC Hotel how there's a drive aisle under the hotel for pickup and drop off of guests. This is what is causing the facade build out issue. The design is with this cutout was the one that was seen by the Urban Design Commission and by the neighbors at the neighborhood meetings and was included in the Urban Design Commission's preferred scheme for the project. Taking all 6 stories of the building, if you look at that whole facade into account as the quote unquote facade under the zoning ordinance definition, we clearly have greater than 80% facade build out because that cutout is not 20% of the facade. However, if you're only going to count the Somerville part of the property because the line between Somerville and Cambridge runs through the middle of the building, we have a bit of a technical variance that we're here to talk to you about tonight. I would state that looking at the building, it meets the intent of the Somerville zoning ordinance when taken as a whole, because anyone driving by and looking at the building is not going to see the municipal line. There's no marker there. You're going to see a building with a cutout. And Chris can explain from the applicant why. Jason, do you want to get into the details now?
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I was trying to find the unmute. Thank you, Attorney Dash, and thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board for hearing us this evening. My name is Jason Diorio. I'm the project architect for the proposed hotel with JAL Hospitality. So this first slide that Attorney Dash was just speaking to, I just wanted to keep this up for just another moment. And as Attorney Dash alluded to, so this just shows the full frontal facade of the entire hotel along McGrath Highway. The second slide that I have is a zoomed in area of our entranceway here. This is what we're here this evening discussing as part of the facade build out. We're a transit oriented hotel, so the pedestrian access as well as the vehicular access is very critical and important to the hotel. You can see here where my mouse is highlighting, this is the revolving door. This is the main primary pedestrian entrance into the project, and then under the drive aisle is the vehicular entrance, the secondary entrance down here in this area where my mouse is highlighting. As Attorney Dash alluded to, we've worked very closely with the UDC, ensuring that we're updating this public realm and creating a very pleasant space for both pedestrians and vehicles as they're entering the site, both to enter the hotel and to pass by on the sidewalk. This next slide is showing a few items. So this blue line, I'll start with the blue line here. This is the municipal boundary between Somerville and Cambridge. Somerville, of course, is on the left side of the screen. Cambridge is on the right side of the screen. So due to the nature of the line, obviously coming across, moving towards the west here, it's truly limiting the frontage that we have within the city of Somerville to this area here, which is approximately just shy of 60 feet. Street frontage in this area. The second thing I wanted to show on this slide is this green over here on the right. So this is the proposed community path ramp. This is the connection between the community path and the Grand Junction path. So that's over here on the right-hand side in Cambridge. And finally, the historic retaining wall that was mentioned previously, that's highlighted here in this maroon color. So as you can see, it's sort of within the site here in Somerville. And then as you move back towards Cambridge, it comes closer to the property line and then across. So this wall is approximately 12 feet high, retaining soil between our site and the adjacent property behind us, the MBTA property, where the community path is also planned to be running back there. And one of the main reasons for placing the community path ramp connection on the right-hand side here is this point of the site is actually one of the lowest points of the retaining wall, creating for a much easier transition, simpler transition to create a flat point between the path spur, which will be located up here, and the path that we're showing here. Finally, the Attorney Dash commented on this a moment ago. So the main entrance is located here, vehicular wise. And we've worked very closely with both municipalities, both Somerville and Cambridge, to reduce our drive aisle here to be an ingress only, with a connection in the rear of the site here to our neighbors at 15 McGrath. This was also done in hand with DOT and our neighbors at 15 McGrath, of course, in an opportunity to shorten this curb cut between the two properties, making a much safer crossing for pedestrians, improving traffic flow, and shortening the signalization at this main intersection, the Rufo Road intersection. So all of these items were completed with the main goal of public safety in mind in this area with all the different departments. And with that, that's all that I have for this evening. I'd like to pass it over to our developer, Ms. Thomas.
Good evening. I'm Christine Thomas, a partner in the development and in the leadership of XSS Hotels. XSS Hotels is a vertically integrated hotel development company. And by vertically integrated, I mean that we deal with the site selection and permitting, architecture and design, construction management, interior design and purchasing, and ongoing hotel operations and management with a goal of long-term hold of the asset. The hotel proposed here is a dual branded AC hotel that we combined with a Moxie hotel, which is a newer, youthful, vibrant concept. We both Marriott concepts, and we have designed and built numerous ACs. And as Jason Diorio pointed out, we're transit oriented. We've developed ACs at Wellington Station, the Alewife Station, the Cleveland Circle Station, at Ink Block out in Worcester at the Union Station. So we believe in transit for sure. This will be our first dual brand with a Moxie, and we're excited about doing that. And overall, since 2008, we've developed 43 hotels in the region with over 5,000 hotel guest rooms. So getting to the vehicular sense of arrival, that if you could change the slide, Jason. Hotels require an easily found and accessible vehicular entrance. So the red lines show how you get into the hotel. A significant number of the arriving guests are first-time visitors, and a first impression on arrival is super important to the success of the stay of that guest. And so making sure that we have a well-marked entrance, pull-off or drop-off, and that from then on it's smooth sailing, because this hotel will be 100% valet parked. So professional valets will park the car for the guest, transitioning to the rear of the lot without leaving the property, and availing parking that's unused overnight at 15 McGrath. And we have worked collaboratively with the developers of the 15 McGrath project to make for this collaborative operation that reduces parking. So this works well because the valet returns the car to a valet pickup spot at the rear of the property, and is in a position to direct the guests how to exit the property using the exit egress on the 15 McGrath property. So we think that this is the safest, smoothest, most appropriate means of sharing the intersection, reducing the crosswalk width, reducing the signalization, and still having a hotel that will function properly. I'd like to show you some examples of other hotels that we've developed with this same strategy of under-building arrival. I draw your attention to if you could point to the the Cambria in Portland, Maine, and the AC in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Those are two that are quite similar to what we would be proposing here, because they're right up against a city street, and all parking is into structured parking beyond, which is essentially what we're doing here. If you would go to the next slide. Oh, of those that type of hotel, Those are 4 examples, but in total we've developed 12, and all have been really well received by guests and the community in which they're located. I've transitioned here to the entrances of those hotels. In some locations, this is both a vehicular entrance and the pedestrian entrance, and in others that are very transit oriented, the vehicular entrance and pedestrian entrance is separate so that we can put it on the front face of the building where it's more easily accessible to people coming from the transit drop-off. And lastly, I'd like to point out that directly across the street from this site is a hotel not owned or developed by us that also has that exact type of drop-off that you drive under and enter the hotel from under the building. At this point, I'd like to thank you for hearing us tonight and turn the presentation back to Attorney Dash.
Thank you, Christine. In conclusion, the hotel needs a covered driveway, and a little literal enforcement of the facade would render the lot essentially unbuildable for a hotel with a ramp to the path due to the shape, soil conditions, topography of the lot, its existence in 2 cities with a shared driveway. Approving the variance is in harmony with the Summer Vision 2040 and was part of the plans that went through the neighborhood meetings and the Urban Design Commission process. Other hotels have the same feature, including the one in Cambridge directly across the street, and therefore the applicant requests approval of the variance for minimum primary facade build out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dash. Thank you, Mr. Duran and Ms. Thomas. Everybody involved, very nice presentation. I would like at this time to open it up to the public portion of this meeting. Ms. Lewis, do we have some folks out there that have something to say?
I am going to, Andrew, are you there? Can you monitor this? I see a couple of hands raised.
Yes, this is Andrew Grabinski. Hello, Chair Fontano. I can make sure that everyone is able to speak. So right now we have, I see on top, Carl Alexander. I will make sure that he can talk. All right, Carl, you should be able to unmute yourself and speak.
Great, can you hear me okay? Okay, great. Hi, Carl Alexander, resident of 49 Myrtle Street. So I've been a part of the community groups who have been in conversation with the developers regarding the build out of the proposed ramp connection between Route 28 McGrath Highway and the Community Path Extension. Just want to really thank and applaud the developers, Christine and your team on really being great partners.
Mr.
Yes.
Alexander, there's some background talk and stuff going on. We can't hear you well.
Oh, sorry, one second. Is that better?
Yes, thank you so much. I'm sorry.
Is that better?
Yes, that's beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. So I wanted to double duty here. So just really want to applaud and thank Christine and her team. Where did you lose it? So President for Myrtle Street, I've been in conversation with the development team regarding the road connection. Just really want to thank them for the great efforts work with, and you know, personally as a urban planning professional, like I really appreciate their efficient use of driveway grids and not having redundancy across the 2 different properties.
Excuse me, Mr. Alexander. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's just me, but it's all garbled. We can't hear you. Raise your hands if the rest of the board is getting a poor reception. Okay, yeah, it's all of us. Andrew, is there any help you can give us? If not, we have
yes,
to move on.
So Carl, looks like you are self-muted.
Sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Now I can.
Okay, geez, I'm so sorry.
That's all
Bluetooth
right. Why don't you get to your point? And in the future, Andrew, we have our timer.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will, we'll get a timer up. Go ahead, Carl.
Yep, so just greatly supportive of the project. They've been really great to work with on the ramp extension, and I hope you can support and approve this requested variance this evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and I'm sorry for the confusion.
Again, yeah, sorry.
Okay. Andrew,
Yes,
our next speaker, please, and timer.
yes. If you give me a sec, I will pull up my screen so you can see the timer. Let me get that set up.
Jason may have to stop sharing.
Yes, Jason, if you, oh, perfect. Thank you so much. All right, hold on, give me a second. All right. Can you see my screen? Oh, no one can.
Not yet.
Okay.
Madam Chair, we do only have one other hand raised.
Oh, okay. Then we'll expedite. Move along
right.
then, Andrew.
The next member is Mike Gerhart. Mike, I am letting you speak. You should be able to unmute yourself now.
Thank you, Andrew. Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Mike Gerhart. I'm with Leggett McCall Properties. I'm the development manager for 15 McGrath Highway, the project next door to this. I just wanted to voice our ownership support for the variances that are being requested this evening. We've had a very collaborative relationship with the hotel development team, and this variance allows for a lot of good things to happen between the shared driveway and the ramp connection, and it isn't detrimental at all to the neighboring properties. So we fully support this variance and hope that the board will grant the variances this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you. And you're telling me there's no one else tonight?
Chair Fontana, we got one more person who raised their hand, Lynn
Sure.
Wiseman.
Okay. Welcome, Lynn.
Lynn,
Hi, thanks. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm Lynn Weisman. I'm co-founder and co-president of Friends of the Community Path. I just wanted to speak in support of this project. I hope that the variance is granted. I mean, overall, it certainly looks reasonable in light of the view of the entire building. And, you know, we've also been working closely with this developer and also with 15 McGrath, so both with Chris and Mike, on making this ramp work along with a bunch of other ped bike features in the area. And they've been working with us for a couple of years, really in good faith. So I'm just hoping this goes through, and I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you very much for your work. So is that it?
that is it, Chair Fontana.
Great. Thank you so much, Andrew. So we'll close the public portion of the meeting and open it up to the board for their comments and questions. Who would like to go first? Would you please raise your hand so I can recognize you? Nobody. So, okay, Catherine Garavaglia, our clerk.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I feel like this was probably addressed and somehow I missed it. I was looking at the parking area and it looks pretty small. What are the parking requirements here? I know that's not something that was on the list, but I'm just asking.
Sure, Jason, you want to show and talk about that? I mean, there are some that's one of the special permits we're seeking from the planning board tomorrow night is a special permit for parking relief. As you can imagine, and you've probably seen this in your own life, a lot of these urban hotels, people don't drive to go to them. So we don't feel that we need a ton of parking for the hotel because people will Uber, Lyft, take the Green Line, you know, such a bus, whatever they take to get here. There is some parking on site. And then we are, as Chris alluded to, doing some shared parking at night with the 15 McGrath Lab building because they have parking structured that they use during the day but will not be using at night. So we mostly need it at night because we're a hotel and don't need it so much during the day. Jason, you want to show? Jason can go into more detail unless you think that explains. I mean, that's not obviously the relief we're here about tonight, but that's sort of the nutshell of it. Jason can dive as deeply as you like into it, though.
Thank you. It only came into my brain because you were talking about the facade differences and the 80% requirement in Somerville. And I wasn't sure if we had any Somerville parking requirements that maybe needed relief here as well. And I wanted to make sure we were checking all of our boxes.
Yeah, Jason, you want to talk about it? And we also have our traffic engineer here as well if we want to get into details, but Jason can probably just talk briefly about that.
Sure. Can everyone see my screen again? Is it sharing again?
Yeah, okay,
Yes.
yeah, you're on.
It doesn't tell me which screen's on, so I just want to make sure I'm showing the right thing. Yeah, so we do have some minimal parking here in Cambridge. We do not have any parking located within the Somerville boundary due to our location within the closest to Leechmere Station. We're within, I believe it's a half-mile transit zone for the parking requirement there. So all parking will be handled valet. And when these spaces are filled, there'll be, Ms. Thomas can probably speak to the agreement a little bit more than I can, but in the parking garage is an agreement for a certain amount of spaces to be used as part of the hotel. And then additional spaces will be used as needed as required during off hours for the lab building that's next door to us.
Thank you. Andrew?
Yes.
I guess my question might be a little more specific, which is there any parking required for this use type in this zone on the Somerville side?
I can answer that, Ms. Garvaga. Yes,
Great.
there is. It's in the half-mile transit area, which does require parking for the hotel at the rate of, I believe, 1 motor vehicle space per 2 guest rooms, which we are obviously not providing any in Somerville because, as you can see how the line goes, we have a lot of guest rooms in Somerville because the municipal line jogs to the right and puts a lot of the building into Somerville. Because we have to move the building over more into Somerville to allow for the ramp, and because the building has that weird shape over to the upper right corner. So to move the building over into, you get a bit of it more into Somerville than you would normally have because of the way the municipal line jogs at a diagonal. So no, yeah, there is a parking requirement in Somerville. We're not providing any on site in Somerville. We are doing the shared parking at 15 McGrath in Somerville, and we are putting some on site to the right in Cambridge, but we are not putting any on site in Somerville, which is all, this is all the special permit we're seeking from the planning board tomorrow night.
Okay.
Thank you, Catherine. Anyone else have any questions? No? Okay, well, I was on the board when we worked on these prior projects, Adam, and I think it's fine. I don't have a problem. I think as far as the variance, hardship variance goes, as we said, and as we read the report, as you reported and as you made your presentation, it's so true because of the shape and the topography and the soil contamination, and for the amount of space that it's on there, I don't have any problem with this tonight. Is everybody ready to vote this evening, or because I don't see any more hands with questions or comments? Can we go forward and have a vote tonight for them? Yes? Yeah, okay. So I'd ask our clerk to be so kind to make a motion for approval of the hardship variance.
Yes, Madam Chair, I just want to make sure that our discussion has hit all of the requirements for issuance of a variance. We've certainly discussed about the special circumstances and of the property and its shape, and the Historical Commission wants to keep that retaining wall. I think we have possibly also addressed, but maybe not in board discussion, that literal enforcement would not cause any substantial hardship to the petitioner or applicant or to the neighborhood, or desirable relief could be granted without causing substantial detriment to the public good. Does anybody else have any differing opinions of those? No? Great.
No.
Then we've discussed the elements and that has satisfied me.
Thank you so much.
So, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the applicant's request for relief from the facade build-out requirements and to approve the hardship variance that's required to do so, subject to the conditions in the staff memo.
And the staff memo is dated,
The staff memo is dated April 13th, 2023.
thank you. Is there any other comment? Hearing none, may we please have a second? Ann Brockelman, second. All in favor? Please say aye when we go around the board. Catherine Garavaglia,
Aye.
Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Zachary Zaremba, and Susan Fontano, aye. Let the record show that the motion moved unanimously with the 5 voting members this evening. And the package will include all that we received here tonight to go in with the documentation. Thank you, Mr. Dash, for your presentation and your staff. Very professional, and we enjoyed it very much, and looking forward to having that area looking nice again.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the board. Really appreciate you letting us having the vote tonight so we can go forward cleanly with the planning board tomorrow night. So much appreciated.
you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
Thank you.
Is there anything else on our agenda this evening? Other business? Nothing is listed. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add or ask? Okay, and planning staffs are Sarah Lewis. Thank you for joining us tonight.
I want to give mad props to Andrew too. So I started the meeting, but obviously that was about all I could manage.
Thanks, Andrew.
Good to see everyone. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your patience and your hard work. Have a good night.
Well,
Wait.
We
We
need a
need a
motion.
roll call
Oh,
vote to adjourn.
motion. Don't I do this? Do I do this all? Who caught me tonight? Was it
Everybody.
Brian or Ian? I don't know.
Everybody
What?
called it tonight.
Everybody. I
Sorry.
just
I
know
don't
that
even
they
like
say.
rules, Susan. Madam Chair, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
May I have a second? Ann Brockelman, all in favor as we go around, please say aye. Catherine Garavaglia,
Aye.
Ann Brockelman,
Aye.
Ann Fullerton,
Aye.
Zachary Zaremba,
Aye.
Susan Fontano, aye. And thank you to Brian and to planning staff number 1, Sarah Lewis. Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Aye.